Welcome back to Live with, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is a very good friend of mine. We go way, way back. He's probably one of the best cooks, chefs, whatever you want to call it, in the business. He can make bodybuilding food, he can make regular food, and he's just got a natural flair for it, and he's an IFBB Pro bodybuilder on top of that. A real overachiever, if I've ever seen one. My good friend Carlo Filippone from the chickenpound.com. Welcome.
What's up, Dave? How are you?
Good. Carlo, you know, you've been cooking for bodybuilders for 30 years now, and I got to tell you, I always wondered how you got into it, because I don't think I've ever asked you that question. Where did the cooking thing come from?
Bodybuilding or cooking?
Yeah.
The bodybuilding or the cooking?
The cooking. I know where the bodybuilding came from. Where'd the cooking come from?
The cooking was very simple. My dad owned a pizza shop. So I was 10 years old flipping pizzas, man. And,
was your dad the kind of guy that like got mad when you started eating like real healthy, like bodybuilding foods, you know, when you got into the sport?
Yeah, so I mean, my diet was pizza and pasta every day when growing up. And then I went to a bodybuilding show. I was 21 years old, knew nothing about it. I was kind of strong. So I was doing a little powerlifting with some of the guys in the gym. And went to Mr. New Jersey back in '93,
right.
Actually in '92, and a couple of guys challenged me to bodybuild. That's a whole long story. I won't even get into it. But I had to learn how to eat right. So took in my dad's pizza shop. Originally, just started making flounder and cod and this other stuff. So I started figuring it out. I had to read all the magazines back then. You didn't go online. You didn't have it online, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of trial and tribulations, but my first diet was 6 cans of tuna fish, right? Listen to this. 6 cans of tuna fish and nothing but water for 6 weeks. And I wound up being totally shredded. I'm sure I was walking around poisoned with mercury. But that was my first diet. It was crazy.
And when did you get the impetus to open that first restaurant? Because you had that restaurant across the street from Strong and Shapely Gym in New Jersey for many years. I remember back in the early '90s you had that thing going, right?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly across the street. It was close by Strong and Shapely. I opened that up in 1997, so it was a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And what happened was, so my dad has the pizza shop. I go to school, leave school, go back to school. I'm an accounting major. And bored to death, out of my mind, can't stand it. I'm like, you know what, I'm out of here.
Right.
So did the personal training thing a little bit because I actually enjoyed it. And in 1997, an opportunity opened up. One of the local pizza parlors was trying to sell. So I waited for them to go out of business, and then I went and leased the property. And so I took it over, and it was local to my hometown in Fairview. So I just went in there and just started killing it. We did really, really well. I was there for a decade before I sold it.
I'm telling you, I mean, it was one of the best Italian restaurants I've ever eaten in. I ate there probably about 2 or 3 times whenever I would be by Bob's, you know. And man, you guys had some great food. Did you do all the recipes and everything yourself?
All of them. Yeah, all of them. As a matter of fact, I sold the place like 9 years ago, and they're still following the recipes. They're still doing well.
Wow.
They opened up another 2 locations. So they're doing really, really well with that.
What was the name of that again?
It was Angelo's. Angelo's in Fairview, Wallington, and I don't know where the third one that they opened up was, but yeah, Angelo's.
That place was terrific. Now, why if your name is Carlo, why do you open up an Angelo's restaurant?
My dad's Angelo.
Oh, so your dad gave you the money for it, probably, right?
My dad's name is Angelo. Plus, we piggybacked off of his location, which was a few towns over. Right. So we carried the rep over, and it worked.
You know, it was a place where you fed a lot of top bodybuilders over the years. Yeah. I know Victor used to eat there a lot. Who else came into that restaurant?
Yeah, everybody. Hey, on one night we had Ronnie Coleman, Adela, and Jenny Lynn in there all in one night. Jenny Lynn was she was a figure Olympia.
Figure Olympia, yeah.
Right. She was figure Olympia. Adela was the fitness Olympia. And then Ronnie, of course, was the king. Yeah. So they were all there in one night. I mean, you had to see this place. It was jumping. And what would happen is they would all stay after hours because when they were in town, it was usually for some kind of guest appearance or something like that. Right. So I'd shut down the doors. And then all the local policemen would come in and hang out because they wanted to meet these guys. But I think Sean Ray's been there. Richard Jones back in the day was there. Yeah. There's been so many, Altie lived there, so she was there all the time. Kim Scheidler, Klein.
Right.
I have so many pictures with so many people. I think I've probably forgotten most of them.
What did Ronnie eat there? What did you cook for him? Because I know he's notorious for eating 2 meals at every meal.
Yeah, 2 meals. So he would always get filet mignon.
Right.
We'd make him double order filet mignon. He'd get pasta. And then after every meal, he wanted cheesecake, 2 pieces of cheesecake. That was it. And he was, every time he was in, because he used to guest pose at the, I guess Steve had him in, at the Easterns just about every year when he was Mr. Olympia, right?
Yeah.
So every year he was there, and then he would have his guest appearances, and a lot of them were in Jersey at the supplement stores and whatnot. So he'd come in all the time. But Ronnie was the biggest name that we served. But yeah, you're right. Victor was in there a lot. A lot of the girls were there a lot because, well, not just the girls, but all of the guys knew that I knew what I was doing. Plus, I was in the magazines.
Right.
So I wrote for Muscle Mag for 10 years.
You had the Muscle Chef column, in there.
At the Muscle Chef column. So whenever people came to town, they'd reach out, send me an email, and say, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Can you make me this and make me that?" So, sure.
The restaurant business has got to be very gratifying because people are like just basically telling you how great you are and how great your food is, and that's good. But it's got to also be very tiring too because it's relentless, right? I mean, 7 days a week. It's nonstop. I would imagine.
Restaurant business is great. I mean, I literally had people coming up hugging me. These women we used to make stuff for, like, I used to do stuff, Chilean sea bass with herb crusts. My pastas were out of this world. So everybody used to get so excited. But yeah, that's why we kind of get out of it. Every time I took a break from the restaurant business and tried to make it a little bigger and had chefs and people in charge, it was funny because it's a small town type of place, right?
Right.
So regular customers would withdraw because part of the draw was them coming to see me and watching me cook and presenting them with their dish. So it was relentless, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I love that. I love when you go into a restaurant and the chef comes out and talks to you and asks you how the food is. That to me, I used to love that back in New York.
Oh man, Friday, Saturday nights, I used to come out every hour or so just to make sure everybody was okay, and I'd get these like standing ovations. It was awesome because like my healthy food is good. You can't, there's no denying that. But I say it all the time. If you've ever tasted my real stuff, and you have actually at a couple of events, that shit's insane.
Yeah, that's especially coming from an Italian heritage where my grandmother cooked every Sunday for us. You got about as close to my grandmother's cooking as I can remember, and it's like a good flashback. Now, talk to me about. We've talked about this before. You created this new business called The Chicken Pound, where you can go on this website, thechickenpound.com, and you can buy your chicken by the pound. It's already cooked. It's packaged in packaging that is unbelievable. I breed snakes for a living. We send out snakes in styrofoam containers. These make my steak containers look like a joke. I mean, you really pack the stuff well. It comes. It's frozen. You put it in your freezer. You defrost it as you need it. It's absolutely delicious. Everyone in my house eats it. My son eats it. My mother-in-law eats it, takes it home with us. It's about as close to Carlo Filippone as you're going to get. And it's so convenient because it doesn't need to be cooked. It just needs to be warmed up. And where'd you get this idea from? Because no one's ever come up with that. Everyone comes up with these meals with all the different accoutrements to go with it. You just came up with just plain protein with different flavors.
Yeah, thought about the idea a couple of years ago, actually. I said, I got to find a way to get just chicken out to these people. And couldn't figure out exactly how to brand it. Right. And as you know, branding is going to be everything, particularly, there's so much going on in the meal prep industry right now. There's so many names. And, it was funny because I conceptualized meal prep back in 2006, if you remember. Once I sold the restaurant, I started and opened up a little shop in a cafe, started doing all that stuff. So I wanted to separate myself from what everybody else was doing because now, forget about the little mom and pop meal prep shops. You got some big names getting into the space. Like Blue Apron has put a lot of money into a company named Already Made. Right. Martha Stewart just got into something with Marley Spoon. So I'm a little guy competing with all these big names. You can't knock off the guy down the street who's doing it in his basement anymore. This is real tough stuff. So I said, you know what, how do I get my chicken? Because that's what we want, right? We're bodybuilders. You spent how many years doing it? I spent so many years. 80 to 90% of our diet revolves around chicken. Right. So, you can only eat fish a couple times, egg whites, whatever. I mean, obviously, there's people who have different preferences who are going to go a different direction.
But a couple meals a day is chicken, let's face it.
A couple of meals a day is chicken. So I'll tap into that. So had the idea to cut it up. and said, how do I cater to the bodybuilding crowd and the real fitness enthusiasts without sacrificing the taste of the product, because that's important, right?
Sure.
So I said, you know what? If you're going to do it, you got to do one thing only. Just do chicken. Get great tasting, kick-ass chicken. Create just a few flavors so that people have something to choose from, a little variety, and get it out. And then I had to think about how to package it. And I said, you know what? 1 pound at a time is the way to do it, because bodybuilders, they're usually having 6 to 8 ounces, right? Some crazy guys will have a pound. The girls are probably getting 3 to 4 ounces, so they can get like 4 meals out of it. Right. So it sounds like it's an expensive item, because they're looking at it, and online it's between $9.90 and $11.95 a pound or something like that. So it sounds like it's expensive, but when you break it down per meal, you're actually getting a pretty good deal and a lot of value if you value your time.
I'll tell you why it's a great deal, because number one, it's cooked. So you don't have to go through the cooking process. There's no shrinkage. It's already been shrunk because it's been cooked.
Right.
Secondly, there's no fat. There's no gristle, there's no skin or bones. It's just perfectly trimmed chicken. When I take it out and defrost it and I cook it, I'm so happy, because I like to break my chicken up into little pieces. I just take a knife, I cut it up, and I mix it in my food, and I'm done. And it's so simple that I can't even tell you. I'm a big convenience person. And once again, I hate people that like hide things with extra waste in there. Like I said, when you go to the supermarket, you might get $1.99 a pound or $3.99 a pound, whatever, but it's never trimmed perfectly. It's always got waste on there. It hasn't been cooked yet, so it's going to dehydrate. And you know, I tell my athletes, when you measure your protein, if I tell you to eat 8 ounces of protein, it's after it's cooked. It's not, you don't measure it before it's cooked, because you're not getting an accurate weight on it. Your chicken is I would assume, weighed after it's been cooked, right?
100%. Yeah, it's weighed completely after. And the other thing they don't know, by the way, in the supermarkets, because we get some pushback every once in a while, you get the keyboard heroes, who are going to comment on your posts and talk about what a ripoff it is. What they don't understand is when they're going to the supermarkets, particularly the Costco's and all these other big box shops, right? That chicken is jacked up with saline solution. So they preserve the chicken, but it also adds weight to it.
Of course.
So as soon as you put it on the grill or broiler or whatever, that stuff shrinks down about 40%. They don't even realize.
40%? Wow.
40%. That's fact. 40%. So if you're buying 16 ounces of chicken, you're actually only getting about 8 or 9.
Right.
So there goes that value.
Yeah. No. You get. Look, I always tell people, same thing with protein powders. You get what you pay for. Okay. If you want high quality food, okay, at a convenience, I think it's a great deal. I think it was an ingenious idea because you made it simplistic. I think people today nowadays make everything more complicated and more complicated and more complicated. And the truth is that true success comes from when you simplify things to the most basic level. And like you said, you might not eat chicken 6 times a day, but I can bet your bottom dollar you're eating it 2 or 3 times a day. And 100%. Your meal, if I was competing nowadays, I'd probably use 1 or 2 of those pounds a day, and I'd be done. And if I had to go to the Chinese restaurant, or if I had to go to because I eat out a lot, especially when I competed. I know Victor did too. A lot of bodybuilders do. You spend a fortune on food. So this is going out quality food that's in the convenience of your kitchen. So you really can't beat it. I think it's a great idea, Carlo.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I think we're on to something. I mean, things are going really, really well with it. And people are loving it. I mean, they place their first order. They usually order 5 or 10 pounds. Right. And then before you know it, they're ordering 20 or 40 pounds on the second order. So we're simplifying people's lives, and we're really making a difference, making it easier for them. And listen, it's not for everybody. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, this guy's out of his mind. He's crazy. I get it. If you have time to cook, man. If you can go get your chicken for $2-3 a pound and you love doing it, do it. We'd never tell you not to. Sure. It's we're not telling you got to buy a bird from us. I'm just telling you that if you're looking for convenience, we got you.
I can't tell you how many people email me, Carl, asking me how to cook their chicken. They have no idea how to do it. Now let me ask you this question. I don't want you to give away all the secrets, of course, but your chicken is very moist. It's not like shoe leather. Okay. First of all, is it broiled? Is it grilled? How do you cook it? And secondly, how do you keep that moisture in there?
Yeah, well, first you want to get a quality product in the door, so it starts with the quality of bird. So we get a very good product coming in through the door, and then we marinate it just right and for the right amount of time.
You marinate.
Right.
Okay.
So for the right amount of time. A lot of people leave it overnight, leave it 2 days, 3 days. I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but that might not be the best way to do it.
Right.
We use very low sodium in all of our stuff, so you don't have salt that's drawing all the water out of the meat, right? So that helps. I give you that tidbit of advice for your listeners.
So that's a bad thing. See, I'm a salt guy. So if you put too much salt on your food, it's going to dehydrate the chicken more?
If you put it on before you cook it, put the salt on after.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. See, I was screwing up,
salt
Carlo.
up their meat before they cook it, and that's not the way to do it. Put
I
the
didn't
salt
know
on
that.
after.
So the marinades shouldn't have any salt in them, is what you're saying?
Well, the marinade's very, very limited salts if you're gonna marinate, And then again, we use very low sea salt's all we use in any of our recipes anyway. But we use very low amounts in all of our marinades. So every once in a while.
And then how do you cook it? You grill it?
We have a flame grill. We actually have a rotating automatic flame. It's a real flame gas grill that just keeps grilling all day long. I got 2 shifts of people that come in and just grill chicken.
Oh, so you can't pretty much duplicate this in your house. That's why it tastes so good,
Yeah, you're not going to duplicate it. I mean, if you're at home, you'd have to sit at your grill and just flip it over. You can't.
Right.
Like the machines that we have back there is, and listen, we started the product on a regular grill, tested it out, and it worked. And then we went out. I actually had to fly out to Ohio to get the right equipment in. And I tested 5 or 6 different brands and companies before I went with these guys.
Look, like I said, it's called being a professional. You know how to do this. You've been doing this for your whole life, and that's why you could demand a little more price also on your food because it's going to taste better. And so. I appreciate that as a bodybuilder, as a regular guy who just doesn't want to eat, the same dry crap every day. Because look, I don't compete anymore, but I still eat healthy. But to me, taste is very important to me now because I'm not competing anymore. But I don't want to have to sacrifice the health aspect of it just because I want to get more taste. So I don't want to have to eat fried chicken because I want it to taste good. So your chicken is great because it's a compromise between I can get good health and I can get good taste in one product, and I'm not afraid to pay a little bit more for that,
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100%. I'm right where you are. We competed at the same time. We guest posted at the same time. I didn't travel the world like you did, but I got to see the country a little bit.
You got a pro card though, Carlo. We did that together too.
Sure did. Yeah, man.
What year was that?
I want to ask you. Let me interview you for a few minutes. How do you feel today that all these guys have pro cards that were probably a lot less worthy than you were? Get your pro card. Can I ask you that?
Yeah, I feel great because it makes me unique because they could say, that's the guy who should have got the pro card, but he didn't. Everyone remembers that, right? Matter of fact, when I didn't get screwed a lot, but I got a couple times I should have gotten a pro card. I think a lot of people agree to that. Those times that I really got like where I should have won made me so popular with the fans. And because remember, everything was through the magazines back then in the early 2000s. So it actually helped my popularity, I think, because if I would have turned pro very easily, I probably wouldn't have done well in the pros because the guys would have just been too good structurally for me. So I probably became more famous by not turning pro. So I always believe that everything in life happens for a reason. Sometimes you don't buck the system, you don't complain, you just kind of go with the flow, and you wind up in the right place. And so
I agree. I think that's a great assessment. I think you're right there.
So they actually helped me by not giving me the pro card.
yeah. They actually did you a favor because who knows? You may not have been involved in all this other stuff, right?
No, who knows? I probably would still be trying to get trying to win a pro show at 50 years old and killing my health or something.
Mr. Olympia at 50.
Yeah, you don't know.
Sean's getting close to 50.
Dude, I'm 50. Do you ever get the inkling to want to compete again?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. So just the other day, I talked to my wife. I'm married now.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And we talked about it, and I said, I do want to do something because I'm still in pretty good shape. I keep myself in shape like you. I eat right all the time. I mean, I'm really disappointed that they didn't have Classic when I was bodybuilding.
I know. That would have been right up your alley.
That was right up my alley. I felt like I was as classic as a physique as you could have. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I was stuck between that lightweight, welterweight, middleweight stuff, right?
Right.
And it bothered me because I never really wanted to be big. I wanted to look good.
Yeah.
So I was always too big to be a lightweight. I was just right for a welterweight, even though when I shrunk down, my chest caved. So I would lose my chest. And I didn't want to take all the crap to be a middleweight and compete with those guys who were that much bigger. So to your question, I said to my wife, I'm going to start training again and eating a little more and see what happens as I get close to 50. I'm 48. So if I can get into something and look good classically, like a Danny Hester type, and Bob Bonham used to call me the East Coast Danny Hester, actually.
That's funny.
Which is a great compliment,
yeah.
And he turned pro after me, by the way. So, and of course he won the Olympia thereafter, but that's besides the point. But my point is, I tried to model myself after guys like that. Would I ever compete again? I would consider a comeback at 50. I really would, but I would do it very, very leisurely, and I would do it very mildly, and obviously never to win a show, just to get in the best shape of my life again and see what I'm capable of.
I'd like to see what you look like at 50. When I turned 50, people say, "Would you ever get the inkling to compete again?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "I got it. Yeah. I got mine out of my system already." But
I want to be very straight. Like, it would never be with that competitive fire, because I had a competitive fire.
Oh, it will, because you're very competitive. I know you play it off, but you're very competitive. I know.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost do it just to be like, "Hey guys, let me tell the rest of the guys in this world that at 48 years old, it's not too late to get in the best shape of your life." But yeah, I mean, we work together. A lot of your viewers may not know, but you coached me, and I was coached by some of the best. You're right at the top of the list. Obviously, we turned pro together, so thank you for that. And I do enjoy very much watching your show. My wife comes into the bedroom every night. She's like, "You watching another one of Dave's shows again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am, actually, because I enjoy." I had Sean Allen on, man. He had me pissing in my pants.
Yeah, well, Sean from New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Have you ever fed Sean Allen?
No. Sean and I have different personalities. Yeah. I like Sean. We always got along, but I'm not sure how long Sean and I could sit in a room together. I walk out like, I'm out of here. I can't.
I should have you guys on an iron debate together. That would be
listen, I love an iron debate with anybody. Get me on with Sean Ray, please. I like to say something to him sometimes, to answer your question, I would, if I could do it, I would do it at 50, but it wouldn't be like I'm going in this show to win it. When I competed, other than Jose Raymond, who I think is probably the most highly decorated amateur bodybuilder of all time, right? We agree with that. Right. Then there's Vinny Galante, who I think won 3 or 4 national shows. Yeah. Then you got to look at like Tricky Jackson, Derek Farnsworth, and then there's probably me. I won 3 national shows. A lot of people don't know that. I won 3 welterweight classes, and I was always in the top 5. You obviously did very well in the heavyweight, but I had fun competing. But I was balls to the wall, as focused and determined as anybody. I could never do it like that, just because I'm not squatting 590 anymore. I'm not grabbing 150-pound dumbbells. I got over that a long time ago.
Carlo would have been like Chef Emerald on the Food Network if he probably wasn't a bodybuilder, because you would have focused all your energy on that, and you probably would have been super successful at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Bodybuilding destroys us all, because it's a great hobby and passion, but it's such a distractor from like regular life and business in general. So
I have big blurs. Like, there's years at a time where I don't remember anything that went on in real life. All I remember is where I was in my training.
I know. Don't, Carla, don't compete. Tell your wife don't let you compete, because you'll be divorced probably if you do it.
She would have no idea what would be going on, and that's why I say it would have to be just kind of like, get a little leaner. Like, I may have to work at it for 2 years just to try to get there, because I can't do that 12, 16 week thing.
Carlo, congratulations with the chickenpound.com. It's a great product. I really highly encourage people to check it out at thechickenpound.com and put your orders in. Even if you put a small order in, try it out first. I guarantee you'll go back and put the maximum order in, because it's so easy. You put the stuff in your freezer and you forget about it, and you got food forever. And that's what I do. Thank God Carlo sends it to me, because he sent me an order the other day, and I was blown away by how much he sent me. I'm good probably for, I don't eat as much as I used to now. That'll last me probably another month, even with everyone stealing my chicken from my freezer. So I really appreciate you supporting us and supporting me with the chicken, and the best of luck in the future with it.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. And thanks to all your viewers, man. I love your show.
All right. And that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time. It doesn't get than that. Check it out at thechickenpound.com. Tell them Dave Palumbo sent you.